All right, guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I hope that you are having a great day. Today, we're going to be talking about equations of circles. So yes, equations, or not equations, circles have equations, okay? And so let's take a look at the structure. So this right here, that's going to be the structure of our equation of a circle. So that's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And what this equation tells us is two things. So we're able to get the center of our circle, okay? And we get our center from these coordinates h and k. And then we also get this radius. Okay, so that's what the r stands for. R stands for radius, okay? So for example, let's say this circle has a center at 0, 0, and let's say it has a radius of 3. So if we were to plug that into our structure, we would get x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 3 squared. Okay, so now the x coordinate of your center goes with the x in the equation, and the y coordinate of the center of the circle goes with the y in the equation. And then we can go ahead and simplify. So I know x minus 0 is just x, so I really just have x squared plus y squared, and then 3 squared is 9. So this is the equation of that circle pictured. Okay, let's take a look at a couple others. So here's another example. So I know looking at this picture can be a little overwhelming, but we know that we have a center at 3, 4, okay? And it looks like the radius of this circle is going to be 6. So here's our structure up here. So what I'm going to do, this 3 is going to replace the h in my equation, and the 4 is going to replace the k in my equation. So I'm going to plug it into my structure. So I have x minus 3, because I'm literally just plugging in this value in for this h, okay, squared, plus y minus, and then I'm going to plug in this value for k. Okay, so minus 4 squared, and then I'm going to plug in 6 in for r. So I have 6, and then the structure says that radius is squared, so I really have 6 squared. Okay, now we can simplify, and really the only thing I can simplify in here is this 6 squared. So if we're trying to simplify the equation, I have x minus 3 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 36. And this is my equation for this circle. Okay, let's try another example. So here's an example where the center is at -1, 5, and the radius is 2. So I like to write down the structure just at the top so that I know where I'm putting in my values. Okay, so this number, -1, is going to go in again for h. 5 is going to go in for k. And 2 is going to go in for r. So let's go ahead and just plug those values in. So I have x minus, because that's following the structure, -1 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 2 squared. Now, when you guys are plugging in these values into the equation, what you'll notice here that's happening with the x coordinate is that I've got two negatives. So when I go to simplify, if I've got minus a negative number, I can rewrite that as x plus that number. So x plus 1 squared plus y minus 5 squared, and then 2 squared is 4. So this is my simplified version of my equation. So this is simplified. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at another example. So let's write the equation of a circle with center 11 and with center at 11, -7 and a radius of 1. So 11 is going to go in for h, -7 is going to go in for k, and 1 is going to go in for the radius. So let's go ahead and plug those values in. So x minus 11 plus y, and I'm plugging in -7 in for k, forgot my squareds, equals 1 squared. Okay, so now when I try to simplify, I have x minus 11 squared plus, I've got that double negative right here, so that's going to end up being y plus 7 squared, and then 1 squared is just 1. So this is my simplified version. Okay, so anytime you've got a negative coordinate for your center, it's going to change the sign in the equation, and that's just because of the structure that we write our equations for our circles in. Okay, let's do one more like this. So this time I've got a center at -4, and again that's going to go in for h, -4 comma -6, and our radius is 3. So let's go ahead and plug those values in. So x minus, and then that x coordinate of the center is -4, plus y minus the y coordinate of the center is -6, and then the radius is 3, and then we can go ahead and simplify. So really the equation of this circle is x plus 4 squared plus y plus 6 squared equals 9. Okay, so we're coming down here, and then that changes to a plus sign. This -6 here is going to turn into a +6 because I've got that double negative, and then 3 squared is 9. So that's where those numbers are coming from. Okay, so not only do you guys have to be able to write equations, but you should be able to pull out that information or extract it from the equation of a circle. So again, here are your two structures, okay? And then really this structure down here that I wrote here in blue is the same thing. It's just that the center of this circle is at a -h and a -k. So when I simplify it, it looks like x plus h and y plus k. So the signs are going to switch if you're pulling out your center. So let's take a look at the first one. So I have x minus 5 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 16. So that's in the structure that we started off with, which means the center of your circle is just these numbers, 5, 2. So the center is at 5, 2. Now the radius, remember, is squared. So to undo the squared, I have to take the square root, and the square root of 16 is 4. So the radius of this circle is 4. Okay, let's look at the next one. So my center, I have x plus 13 squared, and then y plus 7 squared, and then 6 equals 64. So that looks like this structure right here. But if we work backwards, so hang on. So this looks like this structure right here, but if we work backwards, we see that we got this equation from plugging in negative coordinates for the center. So that means that the center of this circle for B is at -13, -7. And if I take the square root of 64, I know that the radius of this circle is going to be 8. Okay, now for part C, I have x minus 15 squared plus y plus 1 squared, and that equals 4. So for 15, my center, not for 15, for the center of this circle, I'm just going to pull that 15, and that's the x coordinate. And then I have y plus 1, so that means that that y coordinate is actually a -1. And then the square root of 4 is 2. Okay, so those are the centers and the radiuses of all of those. All right, guys, and then for our last example of today, if we give you a coordinate grid with a circle drawn on, we also want you to be able to tell us what the center and the radius is of these circles and write the equation. So it looks like the center of the circle is at about here. And that's at 1, 2, 3, that's at 4, 1. So now what I like to do to double check is to just draw my lines going directly across and up, and just to make sure that it is the same distance all the way around. So I see 1, 2, 3. This is 4 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Also 4 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units up. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 units down. So I can see that the center of this circle is at 4, 1, and the radius is 4. So if I'm plugging it into my equation, we're going to write x minus 4 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 16, because 4 squared is 16. Okay, so now let's do the next one. Just kind of eyeballing it. I can't really tell where the center is, but it looks like it's going to fall somewhere on this black line that I'm drawing here. Maybe I should just draw that with a highlighter. Yeah, looks like it's going to fall somewhere on here. And I think this is the center of the circle, but we're going to go ahead and double check. So I'm thinking that this is the center of our circle. And I'm again going to follow the same process that I did with the circle before. I'm just going to count the units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 6 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's also 6 going to the left. So I know that this yellow line that I drew here is correct. Now let's see if this yellow line that I drew here is equidistant from the top and the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, awesome. So I know that the radius of this circle is going to be 6, and it looks like the center is at -5, comma, -3. So if I'm going to write my equation, it's going to be x plus 5 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 36, because 6 squared is 36. And that's the equation of the circle. And that's all of the examples that I have for you guys here today. So if you need to go over any of this, I would hit pause on this video and rewind and watch the bits that you didn't quite understand the first time. And then go ahead and try the Google